Kyle Shanahan, has he lost the locker room? Do 49ers players even like Kyle Shanahan? We got a lot to talk about, especially about this weekend. Let's get into it all right now. You already know what to do. Drop an SDS in the chat. Smash that like button. Let's cook. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. Welcome, everybody, in to the 49ers Morning Minute. Cheers to you all. Oh boy. You're probably wondering, why are you going live so early? I mean, this is early for me. It's early for me. But listen, Kyle Shanahan gave me a call. He's like, we're going to take a look at you at center. I was like, all right, I got to get in the gym then. So we're back in the gym in the morning. So I figured, why not have a nice little live in the morning? Say what's good to all the people. We'll still have our regular scheduled live at about 1:30. But I did want to talk about today why the, San Francisco 49ers, we saw what was going on this weekend. It was shown that Kyle Shanahan is in Cabo with his players. Now, we know this. If you've been following San Francisco 49ers for some time, you would know that every offseason, Kyle Shanahan goes to Cabo with his players. And there's some, narratives floating around that maybe 49ers players don't like Kyle Shanahan. Or, let's go, Paul. We got in at a decent time for Paul. Love to see it. Shout out Paul from the UK. What's good, all the SDS? Get your coffee. Good morning to you all. And again, this isn't going to be a long live. We're just gonna kind of cook through it, and then we'll come back for our long form live at 1:30. But let's talk about it, because as we saw earlier this week, Kyle Shanahan, or not earlier this week, this weekend, the boys are out in Cabo having a blast. Look at George Kittle. Look at Trent Williams just on the golf cart, getting some shots in next to the beach. So inspirational, man. So good. Love to see it. The boys just having a blast. Shout out to Deebo Samuel's wife or girl. Let's just call it Deebo Samuel's girl. She posted this video of her taking shots with, I think, to the right is Christian McCaffrey's wife, fiance, girlfriend. Sorry, not up to speed with the females' titles, but significant other. And you get the beautiful shot of Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams, and Kyle Shanahan. Now, listen. Kyle Shanahan is obviously under a lot of scrutiny after the way the game, effectively was over on the 6th play, right, of that NFC Championship game. So a lot of people are upset with Kyle. Some people are going as far as saying Kyle should be fired, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But that, again, and also too, we hear things of like, maybe is Kyle losing the locker room? Is he losing his core? Well, look at his core. They're vibing. Look at he's got like I don't know what he's sipping on. He's sipping on something, but just vibing on the beach in Cabo with his players, with family, with friends. We had to pull out the Fast and Furious meme because it's just family over here. It's just vibes. So again, I want to preface it in a certain way. People can be upset and they can be angry and, not love the outcome of, that's perfect of that situation. I understand that. But in the grand scheme of things, the body of work, the 6 years that Kyle Shanahan has been here, he has earned his right. He's not perfect. There's plenty that everyone can always improve, right? But at the bottom, like, base level, what you're looking for from a head coach is someone who brings in a culture and sets a culture, and Kyle has done that. And that's why we got the Dom Toretto family meme going on, because that's what Kyle has done. And that's not easy to do. Like, even when you go back to Jim Harbaugh, you really didn't have that vibe. Like, they loved each other. There was a family vibe in the locker room, but it didn't permeate throughout the organization. With Kyle Shanahan, it permeates throughout the organization. So I get it. Like, there's a lot to talk about in the past, and he hasn't been perfect, but it is very difficult to build a culture and have core players like Kittle, CMC, Trent Williams, Debo Samuel, Kyle Juszczyk buy in and be family. I like this. I like this comment right here. And again, I want to pull this one clip up to kind of, again, you don't have to hear me say it. We know very well, last year it was heavily discussed, Brandon Ayuk and Kyle Shanahan's relationship and the whole, like, doghouse thing, right? That was heavily discussed. It was something that I talked about. It is one of the things that I have given critique towards Kyle before. You know, Kyle is, and from my perspective, again, not having ever spoken to Kyle and just outside looking in, I see a coach who's kind of a hard ass. He's, and that's what they always talk about, right? He's very blunt, he's direct, he's to the point, he doesn't sugarcoat anything. And it's kind of this old school ball coach mentality, right? And I've always talked about, if I were to be a coach, I would probably fall in the line of more new school coaching, more like, uh, every player learns it their own way. You kind of have to mold your coaching style per each individual player, just because players are more aware of, psychology, things like that, right? So that's one of the things that I've kind of critiqued him on. But when we go back to 2021, we are like, man, like, he Kyle Shanahan or Brandon Ayuk could be regressing, maybe because of Kyle, things like that. But I also do want to share this clip because it's from Brandon Ayuk directly, and he's talking about Kyle Shanahan directly. Again, you can take, I can try to look at it and give you my belief of what it is, but hear directly from the players themselves on the matter about Kyle Shanahan.
Kyle, that's my dog. That's my dog. That's gonna be. I mean, everybody knows how to. Everybody, it's the league. It's the league. It's business. But
Yeah.
I appreciate them for just they've given me the blueprint. Like when I came into the league, I just wanted to just give me the ball. I'll figure the rest out. But they gave me a blueprint that I could take with me for the rest of my career, no matter where I'm at. They've instilled a mindset and a work ethic in me that I thought I had, but they took it to another level. So I'm forever grateful for that, and I can never ever, you know, take that for granted. So yeah.
Some of you are seeing double there for a second, but I think you get the point. I think you guys get the point here. Kyle Shanahan has the trust of this locker room. We can give critique, we can be upset, we cannot like everything, and that's okay. But you got Kyle out here in Cabo. You have Brandon Ayuk, who clearly there was some issues back and forth uh, between the two in 2021. But at the end of the day, love, respect, and I think Kyle's is a phenomenal coach. So that's why I've always really been against the whole fire Kyle Shanahan narrative. I'm not for the Kyle is perfect narrative, but what I am saying is that's why whenever anyone mentions Kyle Shanahan should be fired, you should laugh at them because it's just not a viable, believable situation. Is their critique available? Of course. No one's perfect. No one is perfect at anything they do. There's always room for critique. But to flat out get rid of someone and then think that someone else is going to come in and do a better job is a bit of a fool's errand. So again, I'm very happy to see this. It seems small, but I love seeing Kyle Shanahan out here with his players, developing relationships on and off the field so that when they come back in August or May for OTAs and Kyle Shanahan is chirping at them, they at least know he loves them, right? Like at the end of the day, Kyle's going to be Kyle. He's going to be a hard ass and he's going to get on your ass. But I think things like this, where you can get away and you can separate from football, but still vibe with your players on a personal level, that's where the relationship's being built. And I think for me, too, that's something that I'm learning. It's like, okay, they're cool off the field, which allows Kyle to kind of be that hard ass and expect a lot from these guys when it's all said and done. Because even though he may be a hard at Debo's talked about it, Ayuk's talked about it. They talk about it all the time. But I think at the end of the day, they know it's all love. So we're still pro Kyle here. I love Kyle, man. Um, you know, I might not see eye to eye on some of the things he does, but hey, I wouldn't want another coach right now. I mean, if you have to look across the league at coaches right now, I mean, and you start to rank them, I mean, who are the top 5 best coaches in the NFL? Obviously, Andy Reid is at the top, but who else comes to mind? Drop it in the chat. Who do you think are the top 5 coaches in the NFL? Because I would imagine that Kyle Shanahan is going to pop up on that list more often than he's not. So, Kyle, I believe, is deserving. Cliff Kingsbury. Good old Cliff. I think Cliff's still in Thailand. Is he not? Belichick, 100%. Andy Reid, what Belichick has done. I'm okay with this. Even though I don't like the Eagles a whole lot, I think Sirianni's done a pretty phenomenal job. I don't love him. I mean, I don't love the Eagles, but I will give respect where respect is due. Shanahan, number 1. Harbaugh, yes, 100%. I can't forget Harbaugh over there in Baltimore. Phenomenal coach. Love Harbaugh. The Harbaugh that's stuck around. But you go through the list. Andy Reid, Bill Belichick, Harbaugh. Ooh, I like this list, Charlene. Andy Reid, Carroll. I will give Pistol Pete Carroll his respect. This is actually a phenomenal list. Shanahan, Reid, Pete Carroll, Belichick, Mike Tomlin. I think this is actually a phenomenal list. That's a great list. Mike Tomlin, phenomenal coach, doesn't get talked about enough. Absolutely one of the best coaches in the NFL. Part of that coaching circle with Kyle Shanahan. Sean McVay, yes, Yeah, yeah, yeah. You gotta talk about Sean McVay. You gotta talk about Sean McVay for sure. But I like this list. I like this one right here. I think it's a good one. So that's a good list. Great list. McDaniels. If you're talking about Raider McDaniels, I would say no. If you're talking about McDaniel Dolphins, I love him. What's good, Travie? Oh yeah, that hurt. Yeah, I like McVay. I just can't stand the Rams. That's the problem. I like McVay. I just can't stand the Rams. It hurts. It hurts to say out loud. Why didn't the 49ers go after Eric Bieniemy? Because Eric Bieniemy is looking for it would have been a lateral move if he would have went from the Chiefs to the 49ers. Him going to the Commanders, it allows him basically to be able to run the entire offense. So that's why he did that. So, uh, oh, come on, Elizabeth. Get rid of Shanahan. He's no good for the Niners. Get somebody new. You must have missed our opening monologue. Feel free to hop back in to the stream, rewatch it, and we'll talk about why that is the incorrect way to discuss the 49ers coaching position. What about Sean Payton? Yeah, Sean Payton's a good coach. Um, he's definitely a great coach, but recency biased, hasn't coached in a while. We'll rediscuss Sean Payton after this season, I believe. So overall, overall, for the most part, Kyle Shanahan is in a top 5 discussion, if not cemented in the top 5 head coaches in the NFL right now. So again, that's why comments like you got to get rid of Kyle, get someone better. Who are you getting better? That's why the fire Kyle conversation is always so flawed because there's no actual like that means you're getting rid of his entire staff. If you're firing Kyle, you're likely getting rid of the Brian Greaseys of the world. You're getting rid of the Chris Kosarek's of the world. You're getting rid of the Hollands, the Johnny Hollands of the world. You're getting rid of Bobby Turner. Like it's not just Kyle. If you fire Kyle, they're clearing everyone out, and then the next coach is going to come in and they're going to wipe out the staff and bring in their own staff. So again, that's why exactly people think like, oh, fire Jim Harbaugh. It's going to be really easy to replace him. No, nope, nope. But shout out to everyone for joining. Again, this isn't meant to be a really long one. This was our first 49ers morning minute. It went longer than a minute, clearly. But I think I'm going to try to every once in a while. It's not going to be an everyday thing, but if I can get on here early, maybe around 9, the 9 o'clock window, sometime around there, just to talk about some 49ers, get some fix in. And yes, Brandon Ayuk has a YouTube channel. Make sure you go sub to him. His name is very difficult. I tried even typing it in, it didn't pull up his name, but it's BA Sports, but B like the B Buzz, like BEEAAYE Sports, I believe is what it is. But I'll try to post it up and we'll get it out there. Caesars says, unless Bill Walsh is being brought back to life, stop saying fire Kyle Shanahan. This is the comment of the day. 100%, not because it was a super chat. That really was. This is, I think, the comment of the morning at least. Shout out to Lester San Jose, new member to the SDS. Shout out all the SDS for dropping in. Welcome, Lester, to the squad. This is Brandon Ayuk's channel. If you want to go shoot him a sub, Jesus just dropped the link. You can go directly to that as well. And do I like the Kubiak pickup? I do. I think the Clint Kubiak pickup is fantastic. Join the Discord. We're getting all the shout outs in. Shout out to all the homies. So we'll be back. We'll be back at 1:30, 1:45 to do our long form. This one still went longer than normal, but that's just how we do. We just typically go long-winded. But shout out to all you guys. I'll see you guys later at 1:30. We're also going to be having a guest tomorrow. I'll announce the guest as well. And we'll get into the full off-season vibes and leave the fire Kyle Shanahan back in 2021. It's outdated. It's old. And that's not how we cook. Shout out to everyone tapping in. Smash that like button. All that good stuff. We'll be back at 1:30 today. Appreciate you guys. We out. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to